All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is my second custom D&D campaign. You guys have been playing together for over a year, I know. Have we hit 2 years yet? I don't know.
I don't
It's
think
been a
so.
while.
We 1 year March.
March. Okay, so anyway, these guys have been playing together for a while, and this is the second campaign that they're playing in, and it's cool because I made up the world, and because of that, everything makes perfect sense, and there are no problems with the world whatsoever because I make perfect worlds. To kind of bring people back in, because I had to take some time off from streaming to finish my capstone for my bachelor's degree. Officially, I am a graduate of higher education. I have a bachelor's degree in marketing management, so I've got a BS in BS. So yeah, now I can focus on this because I've had to cancel so many games for these guys. We're actually going to be running this campaign this week and next week. So tune back in next week if you want to see how they get out of the probably certain death they will get into this week. So, yeah. To kind of bring us back in. Oh yeah, next week is Halloween. We'll figure out if we're having a session next week later, and I'll tweet about it. So follow me on Twitter. I'm at Trainer Jody everywhere. Anyway, so yeah, you guys got together to save a town. Kind of did it in a weird way. Fought the embodiment of fire for using it to solve everything. And then got captured by some vampires, sentenced to death, and then escaped. Yeah. Most recently, you guys had gone through a relatively large lake, somewhat close to the town of Dormay, where this all kind of began, to try and get rid of your pursuers. They found you, and it was discovered after a brief fight that the reason they were able to track you was the belt buckler that the commander had attempted to use was exerting a little bit of control over him. So after wrestling with him and doing some magical type shit, you were able to get rid of that, and you were able to travel far enough away to get to a point where you were no longer actively in danger of being tracked. You guys are still not 100% because you're still in Sanguinius, so that's going to be, just an issue in general. But you've kind of gotten the trackers are off your scent for a little bit due to some cunning uses of Pass Without a Trace, and you are probably within a day or two journey of yes, Big Duo 6 fire solves all problems. You're probably within a day or two's journey of Dormay. So your guide, the Angel of Death, who is really only here for the preacher, has decided to kind of humor you guys after hearing your story of what happened in Dormay, and he's told you what you described happening isn't possible. So yeah, that's where you guys are now. You've just woken up after a long rest, so you're full hit point and everything. What do you guys want to do?
Really quick, we only get half of our hit dice back on a long rest, correct?
Correct. If you've used more than half.
Okay.
One thing I will mention to you guys that won't really be impacted too much in this session, but going forward, because like to go from one side of the Three Kingdoms to the other, you're talking the better part of 2 or 3 months of travel. Like it's a very large continent. So familiarizing yourself with downtime activities, in this campaign specifically, you guys will have the ability between bouts of action and stuff like that to participate in certain downtime activities, just because you will have times where we, spend 3 or 4 days in 5 to 10 minutes because you've just been traveling that entire time. So brush up on downtime activities next time you get a chance. Anyway, any other questions?
I had the negative 17 to my hit points temporary last time. Does that go away after the long rest?
What was that from? Do you remember?
The
next thing training him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that resets on a long rest.
Okay, cool. Just make sure.
I would have given you your gun back by now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I did last time.
Thank you.
I stayed far away from Commander.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Well, see, that's
It
the
just
thing
seemed
about
like a really good
guns.
idea for about 8 hours.
I like to think every time we take a long rest, since I don't sleep, I just stare at Commander the whole time.
And after the ritual, when I, after everything was down.
You asking? Would you have everything for a ritual? Is that what you're asking?
No, after the ritual to fix Commander, I thought that I had gone down.
My answer was purple. So, I'm sorry, I'm making a joke. I'm having a hard time understanding the question. Can you type it in can you type it in chat real quick? My headset's kind of on the fritz right now. And my brain is not working the way it's supposed to at all. So anyway, while Liliane is just clarifying that, there we go. Just for the audience, Liliane did a ritual to kind of fix the commander. I think you did get kind of knocked out for a little bit, but again, because of the long rest, any negative effects of that would have gone away. For the most part, the only thing that's going to last past a long rest is exhaustion. Only goes down 1 level per long rest, and there's certain diseases that you actually have to get cured, and a long rest won't fix them. So, for the most part, long rest fixes just about everything, and you found a secret. I love it. So, any other questions or any other prep work that you guys want to do before you get up or
I'm
before
good.
you get going for the day?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. So, the angel of death gets up and basically, without saying too much, just kind of starts getting ready and turns to you and goes, so, we are somewhat out of danger, but now we have choice. If we go due east, I take preacher here back to Velikovia, which is what I'm paid to do, and I no longer care as much about you. But you can tag along as long as you do not make trouble. Or we can head to the north and visit this town that you claim magical fire creatures appear from nowhere. What is your plan?
I just had to look at the group, and Argenta shrugs, and she's just like, "Do we really have any business there?"
I mean, aren't you curious to know what happened?
Yeah,
You,
when you guys left, technically the town was still on fire. Like, they captured you right after the battle. So,
yeah.
I
Argenta
mean,
kind of grins, and she's just like, "A part of me wants to make sure they're okay, but something arcane happened there, and you know my opinion on that."
but I mean, we know how the story started and we know the middle, but is this gnawing at you to know the conclusion?
No,
Do we want them potentially still being there? Maybe.
And how do we know the vampire are waiting for us there?
Well, I mean, we don't, but how stupid would we be to go back to the scene of the crime? Clearly, they won't be waiting for us. It's the last place they'll expect us to look, therefore, it's the safest.
And probably the
well,
first look.
if you want my opinion, I think it is very stupid to return to scene of crime. So, if they don't think you are very stupid, they will not expect you. If they think you are very stupid, they will expect you. So, how well do you know how well they think of you?
They're vampires. Of course, they're going to assume we're stupid.
Yes, but
And
vampires do not assume everyone is that stupid. I mean, this is a monumental level of stupid. Like, even vampires would sit there, unless you've done something in their presence where they go, boy, you are stupid. They will go, they can't be that stupid. Or did you do something that's stupid?
no.
We've been traveling together for 5 days, and you don't know that. You can't make
Maybe it would be best
me.
for us not to
I
go back there.
mean,
it's yeah.
I did it. I was
Argenta just kind of motions her hands towards Vala, and she's just like, "The vigilante. She has a record herself."
Well, she's not been caught until now. That make her smart vigilante. I've heard tales of vigilante. I thought you were taller, but the rest of tales seem to fit. To be honest, after hearing you gripe and moan and complain for 5 days, I'm somewhat interested to see at least the remnants of giant fire monster.
All right.
And again, we are we can come from we will come from south. There is plenty of tree cover. Preacher and I will be able to scout ahead a little bit to ensure there is no one bad there waiting for us. We get in. I show you how stupid you are thinking that fire monster appeared out of nowhere. We get out.
All right.
I can make myself look different.
Lovely.
I can stay far away.
Even more lovely.
I'm actually a little quicker now, I feel.
Fantastic. Then we go. Preacher, you are remarkably quiet for someone called Preacher. I like this side of you. So you guys start to head off.
Health at a normal pace now, so
You between all of you guys set a pretty good pace while still moving stealthily, because you have quite a few characters that are a little more stealth oriented, so you don't have as much difficulty. And the Angel of Death, for whatever reason, you guys are starting to realize that he has some fairly significant knowledge of the area. Like he's been here many times before. Because he seems to be one step ahead of you guys every time. You know, he'll come back and go, beware, there is, you know, this over here and this over here that are bad places to go, because that's where people get ambushed and murdered by people that are, of course, not me. We go this way. So you start to get a little bit of a insight into him. But as you travel and get closer to Dorme, you guys start feeling odd. It's a very gradual feeling, like you were probably traveling for 2 or 3 hours feeling this kind of weird sensation before you even recognize that something was different. And at this point, you're still quite a few miles away from Dorme. But it's almost as if the air around you is humming or buzzing. It's not an auditory thing, but it is noticeable. Like, just you start to feel a little bit on edge. Your skin kind of almost feels like it's vibrating, despite the fact that there's no real movement in the air and there's no sound other than normal forest sounds. It's just this weird feeling. And you start noticing Preach and the Angel of Death are sticking closer to you guys, and they're talking to each other in hushed tones more often than you've seen before, up until this point. So again, you guys are probably about half an hour to an hour away from Dorme. You've had one more long rest, just because of traveling and everything. So it's kind of early to mid-morning at this point. With this new information, what do you guys want to do?
Is this similar to the feeling I got right before the fire creature broke through?
Make me a history check.
Yeah, starting off strong. That's a nat one.
Okay. What happened when the fire creature burst through was such a sudden and quick experience that it's hard to compare it to something like this that is so constant. So you're not really sure. They were very different experiences.
Are there any animals, small animals nearby, or
make I'll let you choose nature or survival.
what's Argenta better at? I think she's better at survival. She is. 23.
Okay. you've noticed the sound of like songbirds and stuff like that. Again, it's another thing that it took you longer than you think it should have to notice that you haven't heard songbirds in a while. But the sounds of insects buzzing and things like that, and crickets and stuff like that, that has not been affected at all. Just, it seems like birds. You haven't heard anything, and you haven't seen any small rodents or anything.
All right.
But again, the thing that stands out the most to you is the fact that it took you this long to realize that you haven't heard a bird song in over an hour.
That is strange.
Do I see any like bird carcasses? Not carcasses, but like dead birds laying on the ground or anywhere? Or are they
Make me a perception check.
natural 20? Total of 26.
You see everything. No, you actually looking around after again realizing the same thing of there are no birds. You look around. There's no bird carcasses. You generally it's actually easier to smell dead birds than it is to find them. So you look around for a second, but you instantly go, no, this would be easier. And you just really focus on your sense of smell. And you can smell kind of the smell of decay, but not of rotting flesh. So decay is not an unnatural thing to smell in a forest. You have fallen trees that rot and stuff like that, and mushrooms. So it's not that it's an uncommon smell. It is strange that you can't see any dead birds. You don't smell any dead animals whatsoever. But the smell of decay itself is stronger than you think it should be. But visually, nothing seems out of place.
If I go over to a tree and just start like knocking on it and then feeling it, does it feel like a normal tree, sound like a normal tree when I knock on it? Or does it sound hollow or petrified?
Well, knock on wood. I made it funny. The tree seems sturdy enough. It does have... It's not really a slimy texture to it. If you've ever pet a snake before, they're not slimy or slick or anything like that, but they just have that unnaturally smooth feeling to them. And as you go up to the tree, it has bark, like you're used to seeing, and the bark itself is rough, but there'll be these little patches where it's just a little bit smoother than you're used to feeling. And you know that, deer and things like that, when they're shedding the whatever the fuzz is on their antlers called, they'll sometimes rub up against trees and kind of rub them smooth and break off bark and stuff like that. But this isn't like parts of the bark falling off and you're just feeling the smooth tree, skin of the tree underneath the bark. This is the actual bark itself in certain spots just feels unnaturally smooth. But then when you go to look at it, nothing's different. And when you feel the spot again, it feels like normal bark. And then you'll find another spot. And it happens 2 or 3 times before you kind of step back to reevaluate what you're seeing.
Do I feel like I did before I feeling that taking my back to make it reduction or
Make me history check.
14.
So thinking back, Again, very similar to the experience where the fire creature kind of just appeared. What you experienced was very fast, and this isn't. It has kind of a similar feeling, but what you felt and have now felt 2 times a similar experience is something that just ramped up very, very quickly and then exploded into something strange. This isn't ramping, it's just constant.
Okay, I
I
want
know,
to. Oh,
like,
go
Argenta's just gonna say she knows something's not natural here, but she kind of wanna. She's trying to figure out what, so she's gonna like take some dirt, smell it because her senses enhanced when she leveled, and
Mm-hmm.
look around at the different like plant life and things, and see if she can find a sign.
Okay,
Or something
that'll be a
strange.
nature check. And Henri, you had something?
I want to do on the spot I felt that felt different on the tree. Take my scythe and see what happens when I cut into it. Like, is it normal sap, or is there sap, or anything like that?
Good question.
Just on the spot that felt different, and I guess a normal spot to kind of compare.
Well, basically, every time you found a spot that felt different, when you would go to examine it, it would be normal. And you would feel that exact same spot again, and it would feel normal. But then you'd feel another spot, and it would feel different. And then, so it was really weird that you would feel it, you would check it, and nothing would be different. As you take your scythe out and kind of dig it into the tree, the first thing you notice is a healthy tree. When you stick a point into it, it digs in. And you dig in deep enough, you'll start getting sap. You can damage the tree. This doesn't. It tinks. Like you've just hit something like stone or metal or something like that, just from you kind of probing. You're not penetrating the tree.
Interesting.
I got a 22 on the nature check.
You can't really explain why. The dirt tastes burnt. Like you taste ash in the dirt. You look at it, it's normal dirt. But when you taste it, you can taste ash.
She looks confused, but then she just turns all of you and she's like, the dirt tastes like ash.
And the other thing, again, you've been around forest fires before. They're a regular enough occurrence.
Yeah.
Generally, if there's enough that like the dirt would have ash in it, you could smell it. Even long after the fire was burnt out, you should be able to smell the smoke from the ash. The dirt smells like dirt, but tastes like ash.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like a volcano went off, but didn't.
Yes. I just see him poking the tree and the blades taking off.
It's a sickle,
If you-
not a scythe, by the way, for visual. I forgot.
Okay. If you want to use a little bit more force and try and penetrate it, you can. I'll just need an attack roll.
All right.
That's how we get to an encounter against trees.
Plus 6.
Hey, Jody, real quick,
Sure.
while he's doing that, how many just normal rounds would you say I have? I forgot the number.
Normal rounds. I'm not having you kind of track your normal rounds.
Just the
I'm
silver?
assuming, yeah, just the silver because those are special and they're expensive.
Okay.
You would have enough to, let's say, you probably have a good at least 60 to 80 shots on you at all times, and whenever you have free time, you're melting whatever you can get down. Like you have a bullet making kit.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Since
Saving all
it's
your-
really important to you, you always have extras.
Saving all your ration cans to melt down.
Yes.
Right.
Well, and
Who's
you every so often you'll recover bullets from ricochets and stuff like that you could remelt, or take bits of armor and stuff like that. Anything you can turn into a bullet. arrowheads.
Yeah.
Just need enough fire.
Yeah.
Okay, Bala.
It was a 23 to hit for 5 damage.
So you strike it, and the sickle, again, kind of deflects, but takes a chunk of the tree with it. And that's when you all kind of get this overwhelming smell of smoke, to the point where some of you guys just start coughing reflexively. Not that there's any smoke in the air or there's anything in your lungs. You just, that smell has a built-in reaction of you just start coughing randomly. And as you look at the chunk that you broke off, despite the fact that the tree looks healthy, the leaves on it are still green, it looks like you just chopped off a piece of charcoal.
Does it look like almost like it's burning from the inside kind of thing?
No, it looks like not like burnt tree, like actual charcoal. Which is not just, like it's pressed ash and fuel and stuff. Like it's treated. So it literally looks like charcoal.
So Argentas just raises a finger and she's like, these people have access to magic. And I look at Valet, and between all of you who have spells, do any of you have detect magic?
I was just going to suggest I can cast Identify on the tree and see if there's any magic affecting it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will break out my pearl and an owl feather. I will spend 11 minutes casting Identify.
So Vala starts to kind of weave the words into... Is this a bard spell? Or I can't remember because you multi-classed into something.
I did. This is a bardic spell.
Okay, cool. Just so I get the right description right.
Yep.
So you guys watch as Vala starts to kind of weave her words into the magic, the bardic magic that she's accustomed to using. And you watch the words actually start to paint a circle around the tree, and they start drawing these lines in the dirt, simply using her words to kind of affect the world around her. And by the time the spell finishes, Vala, it's a tree.
But I'm not detecting any magical auras around it or anything. The magic's directly affecting it.
There's no magic that is directly affecting it currently. A different spell would give you a different result in this particular case.
Got it.
But as far as identify, that's what you did, right? Identify?
Yes.
Yes. Identify the tree is non-magical, is not being affected by magic. It is just a tree. You do notice, I guess you would notice, for whatever reason, the tree feels out of place. That is the most you get from your Identify spell. But again, it's another one of those things that, how does a tree feel out of place in a forest? It's another one of those things where your senses are giving you information. In this case, your magical senses are giving you information that doesn't make sense.
All right, guys. I have 2 theories about what could have happened or what's happening here. One, this place has been burned for a very long time, and there's some type of magic covering it up, making it look like it hasn't been burned. 2, I create a forest fire in the future so powerful that it ripples back.
Vala, come on.
Vala point.
Yeah, that's you can take inspiration for that.
I'm gonna pocket the piece of tree that I carved off.
Go for it. It's it's heavier than you would think. Like even for charcoal, it seems a little bit denser than you would imagine it to be. Not super heavy, but heavier than it should be. And it's
All
about
right.
roughly about like an 8-inch long, maybe about 2.5, 3 inches thick piece. And it does have some bark on it. So
Okay.
So, Jody, in my days, have I fought something that has used illusions on me? I assume I have because I hate arcane things.
you as a bounty hunter, you've probably had to collect a bounty at least once on a magic using either creature or humanoid. I mean, you were or not a bounty hunter. You were a
Mercenary.
mercenary. You have dealt with arcane using people before.
Okay, so Argent is like, I'm not good at this, but I just squint and I'm going to try really hard to see if I can see through an illusion or not.
Sure. Make a perception check.
Okay. 11. I don't think so.
Well, so the thing with illusions, they're visual.
Yeah.
And seeing through them generally takes a decently perceptive person. However, putting your hand through them takes nothing and has the
True.
same results. Once your brain has been convinced that something is an illusion, you can see through it. It becomes translucent to you. So whether you do that by seeing through it or by pushing your hand through it, it has the same end result. So as you sit there just trying to see if you can see through an illusion, you stop and just go over and like touch a tree, like grab a big handful of dirt, dig down a little bit. None of this is illusionary. Or if it is it's a type of illusion you can touch, which you haven't seen before.
I would like to grab for one of the branches with all the leaves on it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel leaves.
They're a little bit too tall for you to get to. Your the forest that you're in, the branches start like 10, 15 feet up.
I am going to try to climb the tree.
Sure,
Oh, no.
make me an athletics check.
While Bella's doing that, I want to ask, hey, Mr. Angel, have you come across anything like this before?
Please, call me Death. No, I'm relatively certain you have broken reality, and Preacher and I have been discussing in what order to kill you in order to fix reality.
I rolled a natural 1 plus 0.
So you guys watch as Vala just kind of shakes her hind as she just takes this big leap, wraps her arms around the tree, and then slides down.
Vala, what are you trying to do exactly?
Okay, look. If this is an illusion, right? I figure dirt's going to be dirt. The tree trunk is going to be a tree trunk. But those leaves, if they're burnt off, then I can pass my hand through them. I'll be able to actually touch them. If I can touch the leaves, then I don't know. That tells us something.
Could I use Mage Hand to just grab a leaf for her?
Sure. You watch Henry just kind of wave his hand, and a leaf comes down.
I grab the leaf.
It's a healthy leaf.
Feels real.
It's got a little bit of a waxy feel to it. You smell it. It smells like a leaf. You kind of bruise it a little bit, and it doesn't bleed, but the moisture in it comes out.
Why don't
But it
you
doesn't-
taste it?
I mean,
I taste the leaf. Does it taste ashy?
No, it tastes like a leaf.
Okay, so the leaf
It
doesn't taste.
It doesn't taste good
It tastes
unless
like a leaf.
you're into leaves.
I think we've learned pretty much all we can learn right now. We just need to go a little farther in.
Well, it's interesting. When we broke the part of the tree off, it was like charcoal. When we tasted the dirt, it tasted like ash. This leaf just tastes like a leaf.
That's what I'm saying. We're not gonna get much more from this tree. We need to push a little farther in and get more information.
Okay.
I could chop it down, but that would take a long time. So yes, I'd rather keep going.
So you guys keep going for another couple hours. You guys start noticing, almost as if you are slowly walking into autumn. The colors of the leaves start to change. At first, it's not really noticeable. The green starts to look a little less vibrant. But as you walk further and further, the green starts to take on kind of a yellowish tint and then an orange tint. And by the time you've gotten, you think probably within a half an hour of Dormay, all the leaves have changed, not only color from the kind of bright green that they were before to this almost ruby color. It's very striking. And they changed shape. Whereas before they were kind of, smooth. Now they have multiple points on them. They're this ruby color. They have almost a sheen to them, more than just the glossy waxiness of a regular leaf. They almost like glint in the sunlight, like they're covered in water or something like that. It's very bizarre, but the whole thing has just changed.
How long are we going?
That feels like we've been walking forever.
Does it feel colder right now? Like season changes?
Actually, quite the opposite. You guys have started noticing the air is drier, and the temperature just barely has risen a little bit.
This is weird.
Very.
Are we at the town, or how far away do you think
You're
we are
about
right now?
half hour away from the town. If you were to climb one of the trees, you could probably see the town without too much difficulty. Right now, you have trees for another like 10, 15 minutes, and then you'll reach kind of the forest edge, and you'll be able to see the town completely. Right now, it's a little too heavily wooded to see the town from where you are.
Because of how good I am at climbing trees, I'm going to climb a tree and see what I can see.
Go for it. Athletics check.
I'm going to join
Be
in.
careful. These trees are more difficult than you would think.
Athletics check. I mean, I rolled a 4, but it turns into a 13. So.
Okay. So you start climbing up the tree. One thing you do notice, when you grab onto the tree and you start pulling yourself up, you smell that ashy scent. And when you look at your hands, there's soot on them as you're climbing up.
Okay.
And when you get to the top, you've climbed trees before, many, many times. Branches are wobbly. That's how they work. These branches are not. They are solid. You kind of put your foot on them to test a little bit. They don't bend at all. You're not, and again, you know what happens when things don't bend, they break. So you're not 100% solid on putting too much of your weight on outer branches, but the ones that are right next to the trunk, you're fine climbing all the way up.
Okay.
Commander, were you going to climb too?
Yeah, I was going to try and climb up.
Okay. Again, athletics check.
Athletics, that's 13.
Okay. Very similar. You've climbed trees before. Your hands have a little bit of soot on them, and the branches don't bend. They should bend. They don't.
I wanted to go all the way up to the top and see if I can see the city.
Yeah.
So looking out, make a perception check because it is still a good distance away.
All right. What did you get?
What's that? Stupid dice can't read it. Sorry. 16.
Okay.
I got
No.
a 23.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
16.
between the two of you, you guys can see the town. You notice one building is basically gone. You see kind of a pile of ash from the building that you guys had already identified was not going to survive. There was just too much fire damage. You can see the other buildings around there have kind of strange scorch marks on them, and there's a shimmer to the air, like heat rising off of asphalt, to where all the buildings kind of wave and shimmer, but they seem to be intact. And the scorch marks don't seem to be like burn damage. They're just it's almost like somebody painted scorch marks on them.
I have a weird idea. What if wherever that fire creature came from, that area is like slowly blending with our dimension of sorts?
They're bleeding over.
Like
I had
they're
that same
becoming
thought.
one, or slowly transforming.
Hmm.
Now we got to figure out how
Maybe
that
that's
thing
why
even
they.
got here.
You guys
Maybe that's why they wanted to scare everyone out of the town. They knew this was going to happen.
You guys also have noticed that kind of weird buzzing feeling has gotten much more noticeable. Again, it's almost like you can hear it, but there's no sound.
It's kind of like tinnitus in a way.
No, because even then, like there's an auditory aspect to it. This just you think you should be able to hear it, but you can't. Again, it's a really strange experience, unlike anything you guys have experienced before. But it's definitely gotten stronger the closer you've gotten to the town.
Did they happen to see any like shadows moving back and forth, or is it just the buildings they saw?
Unfortunately, because of the shimmer, seeing specifics was almost impossible.
All right, well, I guess we get closer. I have a feeling, a stinking feeling, that there's going to be no one there living.
Yeah. Or if they are living, they're not,
Yeah.
alive.
All right, I guess we go closer to Dorme.
Okay.
You guys had something else you wanted to do?
As just as we leave the tree line, I'm going to cast Armor of Agathis on myself.
Okay. This will be fun. So as you're getting closer, everyone is kind of you're all kind of preparing for the worst. You're readying your weapons, not really like drawing them or anything, but kind of getting yourself to a position where if you need to fight, you can. Commander, you're checking your barrel and everything, or your barrels and everything to make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to. Argenta, you're checking, your armory to make sure you know where everything is hidden. Vala, as you're kind of going through your head, the different spells that you have and kind of centering yourself within the weave to kind of connect yourself with the world and everything, and kind of just in your mind, the weave is this underlying song that is just everywhere. And it changes, depending on where you are and who's there. But you're sitting there trying to tune yourself to this song, and suddenly you hear Daisy, Daisy, Give me your heart to do. I'm half crazy, hopeful in love with you. And
I
then
start humming,
nothing.
and then I'm
God,
like,
a towel.
"Say,
Sorry.
guys, did you hear that?"
Did we, or was that just Vala?
Valley, you're the only person that heard that.
I mean,
And when you heard it, a chill went down your spine. You're
Yeah.
not. If you want to roll a history check, you can see if you can remember why.
That's less good.
I think I know who this is.
11.
11. Yeah, no idea. But something
Oh
about
wait,
that is
I'm going to use my inspiration.
okay.
Not as good.
Okay.
So
You don't know why, but this feels incredibly unsettling.
I have some suspicions. Um, guys, did you just hear some singing?
I mean, from you, because
What's
you were
singing?
doing something, but other than that, no.
No?
I'm gonna look around. Do I notice anyone? Do I see anything?
Nothing. There's your party's around you. You have guys who at this point have gotten to the edge of the forest. You can see the town. All of you are noticing that shimmering look. Again, kind of like, hot air off asphalt where it just kind of lenses
I'm
everything behind it.
I'm also pulling out my silvered rapier.
Okay. There's nothing around you. There's no creatures. There's no, beyond the forest with no birds or rodents and just insects in it. There's nothing.
You're just a little on edge, Vala. You should just start a fire and calm down.
Guys, I got a really bad feeling about this. I think we should leave.
I mean, we're right here. How close are we to Dorme?
Well, you can see it. It's about 15 minutes away at a leisurely pace. You could probably run it in 5-10 minutes.
We don't see any figures walking back and forth at all, do we?
Not really. Again, you see movement, but you can't be sure if that's from the lensing effect or if there's actually people there.
Hey, Mr. Death, do you happen to have a spyglass on you?
Of course, I have a spyglass on me. What kind of killer has no spyglass? And he takes it out and he just hands it to you. He's like, you break it, I kill you.
You were going to kill me anyway, and then I'll just use it and see what I can see.
All it does is amplify the lensing effect.
Okay.
Again, you're looking through basically hot air, so.
Yeah. Figure's worth a shot. I'll hand it back to him.
Can't exactly talk to my spirit animal yet. I just know it's there. So.
So what's?
Well, we're not going to learn anything by standing here.
Yeah.
And we owe it to these people at least to see what happens.
Okay.
So yeah, we continue.
So as you guys get to the city itself, or the village itself, you don't see anybody there. But you notice the ground that was dirt before has almost a rust tinge to it. It is remarkably hot, like middle of summer kind of hot. And you don't hear any of the noises you're used to hearing when you've come into the town before. Normally you'd hear people in the tavern, you'd hear people in the general store, horses every so often. it is absent of sounds of human habitation, but you do hear kind of a sizzling sound.
I would like to cast Detect Bots, which lasts for a minute and would let me detect any thinking creatures within 30 feet of me.
Okay. Your party's there. Death is there.
You hear nothing in but Dwarvish from me.
Actually, just to throw a slight wrench into it, you can detect that Henry is there. However, if you try to focus on him at all, it's gibberish. It's not. It's not a language. It is pure gibberish.
Dude, you need to lay off the caffeine.
And if you focus on it at all, the spell ends. Like the second you focus on it, you get a sharp pain in your head, and the spell is off.
Yeah, I'm thinking more. I'm like trying to use it as a searchlight, like
Yeah.
any of the
Nothing.
dark corners.
The only people you can sense with thoughts, you can see right now.
How far away are we from where Colin was staying? The hunter that helped us out?
Where was he staying?
I don't know if he was staying in a separate building or if he was in the tavern.
I think he was in the tavern with you guys. He was in the inn part. So you guys are on the outside of town. You basically have just gotten to where the pits were dug and everything, and there's a couple barricades and stuff that you guys have basically just run up to and ducked behind for a slight bit of cover. But you're not in the town proper yet. But you do hear this like sizzling, hissing sound.
And no wind or anything, just that sizzle.
There's a slight wind, but it is if you haven't experienced it, it's hard to explain. But if you've ever felt a desert wind, where it hurts when it goes past, because it's just hot and dry, and that's what you get. And it's not super fast or anything, but it is like the moisture is slowly being sucked out of your body.
All you have to do, go to Las Vegas, be in a hotel for 2 hours, and then open the doors.
90% of the moisture were just...
I'm going to try something. Go ahead, Commander, sorry.
Oh, you go.
I was going to, since Silent Image has 60-foot range, I'm just going to cast it just make it like a generic human about 60 feet into the town, and just see if anything goes to attack it or what happens.
Okay. As you cast the spell, you have a very clear image in your head of what you're trying to make. What comes out is not that. The image that you actually create is this humanoid figure that is on fire, writhing in pain. It's silent, so you hear nothing. But that's the image that you conjure.
Okay.
I kind of turned to Henri and in Elvish, I'm like, that's kind of fucked up, don't you think?
It's not what I was going for.
You didn't mean to do that?
I meant to just do a happy-go-lucky person strolling through town to see what happens, and that happened. So,
I'm not.
Are you feeling okay?
Death kind of turns to you and go, you need massive amounts of help.
We all
This
do.
is coming from someone who not only gets paid to kill people, but enjoys it.
Argent is like, look, I hate the arcane, but you arcanists know what you're doing when you do this. So, what interferes with it?
I couldn't tell you.
if you'd like to roll an Arcana check, you can see if your particular anyone that's trained in Arcana can make that check.
Trained, then I'm not going to roll.
Okay.
Can I make a history check as a book nerd?
Sure. It'll be a little bit harder, but sure.
Okay.
11.
11. That's not how magic works. What you just saw can't happen. It's not that it doesn't make sense. That's simply not how magic works. So either
Guys,
Henri is lying or the rules of magic aren't working.
I'm going to test something.
Sure, if you'd like to.
What did you get, Commander?
Henri, if you type, I think it's /GM roll, you can actually make a roll or just whisper me whatever you roll. And that way, Lillian can... I'll just have you roll a deception check.
I rolled a 20 not natural for the history check.
Okay. We'll do that in just a second.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Okay. And you got a 9?
yeah.
Henri has got to be the hardest person to read you have ever met. Well, it's, body language, the cloak obscures so much of his movement, and you can't see his face because of the cloak and the robes that he wears, that normal tells and things like that just simply don't apply. You think you're going to have to get to know him better before you can tell if he's lying or not? Commander, thinking back to books that you've read and growing up in the position that you did grow up, you had access to a fairly significant amount of information, a little bit more towards the divine end of magic than arcane, but still they both interact with the weave, they just do it different ways. So even with all that knowledge, what just happened, what was just described to you, and what you just saw, because you've seen this spell cast before, it's not possible.
Okay.
Plain and simple, it's not possible.
I'm going to try another experiment.
Okay.
Magenta, I'm going to say to you through message, this is Henri. Let me know what you hear, and I'll cast a message with that exact message to Argenta.
Damn it. Okay. Give me a sec.
Now I gotta think.
Well, silent image was easier. What languages do you speak, Vala?
What languages do I speak?
Yes.
Common, Elvish, and Sylvan.
Sorry, I had to refresh because everyone just froze.
Okay. You get a message.
Wait, he sent it to me, right?
Oh, Argenta. Oh, I'm sorry. It was Argenta, not Val. I'm sorry. Argenta, what languages do you speak?
Elvish or Orcish, Dwarvish in common.
Yeah. Actually, no, this would make perfect sense. Vala, you get a message that's a little bit hard to understand that says, "This is Henry."
Hi, Henri.
I got nothing. Seems
Lillian, you get a message back that says, "Hi, Henry."
Okay.
Oh, man.
Give me 10 minutes because I can do something with the weave too. I just don't because there hasn't been animals. I'm gonna meditate and cast speak with animals on myself. See what happens.
Can I tell who said that?
It's Vala's voice.
Oh,
It was garbled.
This is
So as
too bizarre.
you because of how you cast the spell, you interact with the weave a little bit different than even like druids do, because this is an innate ability from your beast spirits.
Yeah.
So as you do that, you feel the spell kind of take effect, but normally when you invoke a beast spirit, you can feel the beast spirit itself start to basically inhabit you, and that's what gives you this ability. You get the ability. You think it's worked, however, you can't. There's nothing to test it on because there's no animals
True.
around. But you don't feel your beast spirit inhabiting you.
Yeah, something's off about this place.
I'm going to attempt to cast the light cantrip,
Okay.
which is one of my warlock spells.
A bubble of darkness.
What
We're
are you casting it on? Light requires an object.
I'm going to cast it on one of my daggers.
Okay, I need a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, what?
We're like
no.
science
dice.
camp D&D in this game.
And then the Demogorgon appears.
25.
25. As you cast light on your dagger, you're used to seeing this very brilliant, bright light appear whenever you cast. That's not what happens. Generally, it'll appear like the tip of your dagger. Wherever you touch or wherever you point, that's where it appears. That's not what happens. The dagger itself starts to glow softly at first, brighter and brighter, and you realize the blade and the dagger is heating up. And so you immediately drop it before you burn yourself. But it glasses the sand when it impacts it. Like you guys get this kind of smoking. I don't know if you've ever smelled sand burning. But
Yeah.
like it smokes and things like that. And as you, as long as you have the light cantrip active, the dagger is white hot.
Congratulations, Vala. You've invented a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I cancel the cantrip.
Okay, it almost instantly, much faster than should be possible, gets cool, and you see glass underneath it, to the point where you're if you try to pick it up,
No.
you don't. Okay, then you don't notice anything.
I'll pick it up.
Okay, when you pick it up, pieces of glass are stuck to it because it's cooled a little bit. So there are bits of glass stuck to the blade now.
Argenta just looks at you and she's like, "You can weaponize that spell here, apparently."
Well, with the fact that glass heats differently and everything, like it's damaged the blade.
Yeah.
At this point, and so it's probably not going to hold an edge unless you get it reforged.
It would be effective on a crossbolt as I cast it. However, that's only if I stay here, and I don't think I want to stay here any longer. Is nobody else creeped out about this?
Still hear that sizzling sound, and you realize that it's coming from a specific location.
I was about to ask you, are we close to where we
the tavern
fought
by
that,
chance?
that fire to be?
Yeah, you're roughly like, I don't know, 100 feet away from where the creature kind of appeared, because it appeared in the center of town.
Yeah. And is that tear still there, or is the body still there?
So there goes my idea of trying to find somebody and cast Speak with Dead. I have a feeling it won't go the way I want it to.
Yeah.
No, it'll be dead with speech.
So when you killed the creature, it just kind of disintegrated.
Yeah.
So there's no body left. You don't see the remnants of a rift as far as you can tell. Like, you don't see anything there.
Where's this sizzling sound coming from?
Yeah.
If you want to make an investigation check, you can look for it.
I would gladly love to do that.
Natural 19 plus a 0.
All right, we'll go with that. I got a 4, so.
Argenta is investigating the glass dagger.
Yeah.
I rolled a 19
Yeah, I got
for
10.
investigation.
All right. So between the three of you guys, you look around and you realize that the hissing sound is coming from the church or the temple. And as you guys go up to it without going in, because I'm assuming you wouldn't go in yet, you can look through because it doesn't have like a door, it has an archway. There's nothing in there, and you don't see anything that could be making this sound. But you can hear the sound, and it sounds like it's coming from under the floorboards.
I mean, I'm really intrigued.
I'll just take in. Because things have been so weird here, she's untrusting. She takes out a torch and is holding it ahead of her, just to see if anything like happens with the torch before it happens to her.
Gives off the regular amount of light. Because of how hot the surrounding air is, you don't feel as much of the heat from the torch that you normally would, because it's sweltering at this point.
So are we opening up the floorboards, or?
I don't know, Argenta. I'm beginning to think you had the right idea before. F this Arcana stuff, and
I mean, what if it just grows and grows and grows and ends up just enveloping the entire continent? This could just be the start.
Does anyone have a crowbar?
I mean, I have my sickle. I have, if there's any holes, I do have superior dark vision, so I could peek inside.
There's anyone that has, I believe it's a Dungeoneer's kit. There's a crowbar in there.
I pull a crowbar out of my Dungeoneer's kit.
Okay, I'll take it and I'll start trying to wedge some floorboards up.
As you try to do that, the floorboards themselves are really, really well made. But as you step in and you start trying to pry floorboards up, you notice you can hear the sound from underneath the floorboards, and you can hear an echo to your right of the sound.
So where's the echo coming from? Down or like?
The echo is coming from your right. The source of the sound, kind of muffled, is coming up through the floor.
Is to Argenta's right the staircases I would use to go down when we were here last time?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's go down.
Okay. So you guys go down. Down here there is a little altar to I believe it was the Dark Lady, right?
I can't remember. I know I went here for mine, but I don't know if mine was here.
Well, we'll say that it would make sense that the Dark Lady would be kind of wouldn't be up with the other, like, the gentle
Yeah.
healer and that. So you see that, but there's a wall when you guys come down, and it sounds like this hissing sound is coming from the other side of this wall.
Was the wall here last time, when I was here last time?
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure it wasn't put in
Because
magically.
this is kind of a crypt catacomb kind of place, but because it's a very small town, it's, you're only looking at maybe, 250 to 500 square feet of crypt, and there's really not anyone, like, there's maybe one or two people entombed here. The rest is just kind of open for when people do die.
Is there any way, looking at the wall, is there like a door that's obvious, or can I just poke around to see if there's some way?
Make an investigation check.
Okay, I really like this dice. That is an 18.
18. Looking at the wall, there's no door, there's no hinges, but as you look at it closer, it's newer than the rest of the area. This was definitely built after the rest of this area was built.
Interesting.
Just, Commander, did you have anything?
No.
Okay.
So it looks like we might have to break this wall down if we want to know what's on the other side.
I look at Lillian and I'm just like, want to help? We're the strong ones here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys want to use weapons? Do you want to use? Vala has access to a crowbar. Anyone else with a dungeoneering kit has a crowbar.
I have a priest kit. I don't think that'll help.
I'll
No.
toss.
There was
I'll
a
toss-
joke I could have made there that I'm not going to.
Oh no.
I'll toss Lillian the crowbar because I have a flail I can use.
Okay.
I'll take the torch from
Okay.
Argenta, and I'll hold it in my left hand, and I have the rapier in the right hand, and I am just like...
You're you're supervising.
I'm just
So
on a swivel.
athletic checks from the both of you guys.
Okay. 19.
Okay.
14.
So this wall is remarkably well made. You guys probably wouldn't have experience with this, and the only person that would isn't here. But you do get the idea that this wall was not meant to come down. This was not like a temporary wall or something like that. Like, this is a really solid wall. And it takes you guys a good 20 minutes to really get through. You notice that after you are bashing it long enough, you get through an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches. Like, this is thicker than a wall should be. And you keep breaking, and finally you guys see a small speck of red light kind of peer out, and you realize that you've pierced into whatever the next room is. And the very next hit you guys make together kind of crumbles the wall, and you are hit by this wave of this acrid iron smell as you see what looks almost like maybe a fountain. Decorative fountains that have, figures that are, where water comes out. But instead of figurines, you see bodies that have been pierced in such a way that their blood drains into this fountain and flows over all these arcane sigils and things like that. There's a grand total of 3 bodies there, and the blood actually goes against gravity and flows upward across arcane sigils and eventually forms this small, like softball-sized, orbiting sphere of blood. And as you guys look closer, one of the bodies there blinks.
Do we recognize them?
Nope.
Why do I get the feeling someone is responsible for summoning that thing that we fought?
Yeah, something is not okay. I want to grab a small piece of rock that came from the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and just throw it towards the fountain, just to see if there's anything around it to deflect it.
It drops into the pool. The sizzling sound gets stronger. You see a little bit of steam rise from the pool.
I mean,
At the bottom of the fountain, I mean.
the dead don't like me, so if there's any dead things in there, I could go in and they might not like me.
I'd toss a rock at the body that blinked. This is a small one, just to see if it reacts.
It looks at you. A tear runs down. You hear this hissing sound. You realize that there's not enough air to go past the vocal cords to create any sort of noise. And the jaw has been broken in such a way that it's completely unusable.
And you said they're hanging upside down into this. How are they?
No, they're kind of crucified.
Oh,
to use the exact right word. They're kind of hanging there. Their arms are out. They have cuts in their wrists, in their arms, in their legs, in their stomachs. With your training, you recognize at least a couple of the spots where they have these cuts that are bleeding are close to arteries. So the cuts are not, they're not random. And from the few that you recognize, because you know if you get stabbed there or shot there, you'll bleed out within minutes. You kind of surmise these are all arterial cuts.
Would I know from my extensive stay in a church if this is some kind of ritual for undead purposes or something along the lines of like a religious thing?
It's not a religious thing. You do recognize the kind of magic being used here, though. There's a very particular form of magic that you've seen used before. It's connected to your brand. And without giving too much away, I think you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Would I recognize the kind of magic or...
You wouldn't recognize the magic per se. You would realize that this was not done by someone who has the proper respect for death. Like this is 100% an abomination style thing. This isn't even because of your connection to death itself. You're familiar a little bit with necromancy. You know a little bit about how to become a lich and stuff like that. Like you don't know the steps, but this is something that a lich wouldn't do.
So, are they dead? Are they alive? What do
Yeah,
we do?
I was gonna say, can I take the part of the body that breaks?
Give me just 1 second, please. Okay, so I think both Argenta and Lilianne said something. Let's start with Lilianne. What did you say?
I want cat for a pulse on the body that breaks.
Um, to do that, to do that, you have to touch them. So, do you want to go in and actually touch them to look for a pulse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, Lillian, don't go in there just yet.
So Lilianne starts to go in, and Commander stops her. Argenta, what did you say?
Oh, I was just asking the party, like, are they alive? Are they dead? What are we
Oh,
doing?
okay.
Yeah, is that what baby was? Is that what pulse
Okay.
Yeah,
was?
well,
I want to start looking for traps.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's look around real quick, make sure we're not walking into something.
Okay. Investigation, please.
19.
Okay.
Investigation 22.
You detect no traps.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to go up to one that blinked and try to see if I can get them down.
Okay. Make a dex save.
$14.
Okay. As you sit there and when you touch the body, it's warm to the touch. Not like warm like it's been sitting out in the hot sun. Like this is a living creature.
Okay.
As you touch it, you can feel the body recoil a little bit against your touch, but it's so weak it can barely move. It's held up by stakes, metal spikes, basically, that are piercing through its body in about 7 different places. As you start to try and remove them, you hear this cry of anguish from the creature, from the person itself, that you assume is just pain because you're ripping something out of their body. And everybody feels something strange, like that, like buzzy feeling shifts. As you kind of contemplate what to do next, the other 6 stakes shoot out. Body drops to the floor, dead. And suddenly you feel yourself being pulled in, and the stakes start driving themselves into your flesh. You very quickly try to maneuver out of the way, and as you do that, you kind of get caught in this contest of strength with whatever this thing is. It's trying to pull you in and replace the person that you just took out of it, and you're doing every trick you know to not, but you're kind of locked in a struggle with it. The rest of you guys are watching this happen as Vala is, keeps getting kind of strapped down with invisible straps to whatever this apparatus is, and these things keep attempting to pierce her skin as she moves out of the way, and she's fighting valiantly but not getting anywhere. There.
How big is the room?
Yeah.
The room, it's about 5. No, I guess it would need to be a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's about. It's a little bit bigger than probably like 7 by 7 feet, like just barely big enough for the 3 bodies to fit in there uncomfortably with this thing.
Is she pierced by the spikes, or is she like barely avoiding?
As of right now, no. but
I'm
the
gonna-
longer she struggles, the closer it's coming. Like she's got a couple
Fine.
nicks from spikes almost piercing her.
I'm gonna try and reach out and grab her hand to pull her through.
Okay, I need
Well-
a wisdom saving throw.
While Argenta's doing that, can I light up the room with fairy fire to see if there's something we're not seeing?
My
Okay, Argenta, you'll roll first.
17.
Okay, Andre, as you unleash the fairy fire, it envelops the mechanism, but it doesn't stick to anything else. So it seems like the mechanism is the only this unholy fountain thing's the only thing in there, or at least the only thing that fairy fire is sticking to. Argenta, what was it? 17, right?
17, yeah.
As you reach your hand in and grab her, you immediately feel like a knife has stabbed your brain. You fight off that feeling and just pull as hard as you can. And you pull Vala out, and you, Vala, and Liliane all fall to the floor on top of each other because of the close quarters. And the other two bodies in there just start screeching louder than you think they should be able to. And the 7 spikes in there are just flailing around wildly, looking for something to pierce.
Question: you said that the blood was flowing up to the ceiling towards sigils, correct?
It was flowing over arcane sigils on the base of the water fountain. If you think of those like multi-layer fountains,
Mm-hmm.
it's doing that backwards. And so you can see it flowing over sigils and things like that until it gets up to the top and then kind of floats up to this little sphere.
And is the sphere part of the fountain, or is it like up in the ceiling?
The sphere is about head level. And it's not again. It's just blood. There's nothing holding it there. It's just floating in the air, and there's a little kind of dribble of blood that keeps going up to this sphere. It's almost as if you're looking at something upside down.
Okay.
I think we may be thinking the same thing, Commander. What if we destroy some of the sigils?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to on the body that was dropped. I can see the sigils that were there now, right? Since there's no blood flowing over them.
Technically, the blood flow is uneven, so you'll see a sigil get covered by blood and then revealed again, and covered by blood and revealed again.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
If everyone's okay with that, I'm going to try blasting one of the ruins from a safe distance.
Yeah, you're reading my mind.
Okay.
I guess I'll just
What spell are you using?
Eldritch Blast.
Okay. Make an attack roll with disadvantage.
Wow, 2 9s. I think it's +8. Let me double check. It's been a while. Yeah, so 17.
17. So you unleash
For the first one, I
one
guess.
of your bolts of force energy. It impacts where you are aiming for, and the fountain itself starts to shake, and the screaming gets louder.
Okay, either I'm onto something or something bad's about to happen if I
You can
continue.
now see there are tears just streaming down the faces of the 2 other people that are there.
This is like taking a sledgehammer to a door. Does anybody have the magic version of thieves' tools?
No. I'm going to cast Sacred Flame on it.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
You sizzle some of the blood and things like that. The creatures scream, or the people scream even louder, but nothing changes.
And those little spikes are still swirling around.
Yeah, from the one person that Vala was able to release is not screaming or anything. The body itself just looks like a dead body now.
I think they're already dead, and there's no. I don't know. We need to worry about them.
Listen, if you don't have any ways to save them, no dispelling or anything, and Argenta pulls out 2 arrows,
Okay.
we can just kill them now.
It may be better to
I have no magic, so I don't know.
Alright, she's gonna try and mercy shot them both.
Okay. Make attack rolls.
Okay. The first one is a.
Technically, they are incapacitated, so you have advantage.
Right. That's, what's my dex to? 23 and a. Dirty 20. So not natural 20. Yeah.
So you fire the first one, and it lets out a scream, and then you watch all 6 or all 7 of the spikes launch out of it, and the body just hits the floor, dead. You hit the third one, and again it lets out a scream. The spikes themselves are swirling around in a tornado. All the blood is starting to gather just in that sphere. I need a dex save from everybody.
Oh,
I have advantage on this, luckily.
Yeah, you would see this coming.
21.
Okay, I'm
18
just gonna
from-
go down the list. So Argenta,
Okay. 18.
okay, Vala,
Natural 1 for a total of 7.
Oh,
Lillian,
Vala.
17.
okay, Henri,
Well, I got higher than Vala with a natural 2, so 5.
okay, Commander,
21.
anyone? Okay, Vala and Henri, you both take. I have to roll. Why are you making me roll?
200 points of damage.
Roll new characters.
You have to roll new characters.
No.
Six. Sorry, I gotta do math here. 13. $18 and 13. Someone add that for me.
31.
That is, 31.
You take 31 necrotic damage as this thing explodes. The rest of you guys are able to dive out of the way, and none of the blood gets on you. But Vala and Henri are covered in this blood. And Henri, the blood pierces through your cloak and goes directly onto your skin.
Oh, so like a normal shower.
Yeah. And it burns like nothing you've ever felt before.
Does it burn both of us?
Yes.
Okay. Because of my armor of Agathis, that blood takes 10 cold damage.
Oh, God.
Right, you still have the armor.
Blood's a little bit chilled now. As you guys kind of dust yourself off, the first thing you notice is the sound is gone. That buzzing feeling is gone. The second thing you notice is you hear sound upstairs.
Oh, crap.
Do I have any healing potions? I don't think so.
What in fresh hell did we break the bonds on?
I don't know.
Gonna do something good or bad?
I would like to stealthily go up the stairs and try and not just peek above and try to see what's going on.
Sure. Roll me a stealth check.
Yes, I'm very stealthy. 11.
So as you go up, you see a couple of the townsfolks. Wandering around, you see a couple of them hugging. Their clothing has burn marks on it. Some of them have very noticeable burns on parts of their body, but they seem, from what you can tell, happy-ish.
I duck back down and say, "There's the town people are back up here and they're happy."
We didn't see him when we came in, right?
There was no one there.
Okay.
Argent is just going to be like, she waves her hands and just kind of pokes her head up, see if anybody notices her.
They seem to be kind of absorbed with themselves. They're looking around. You notice the dirt is no longer that rust red color that you saw before. It's just the standard kind of dirt that you saw before. The buildings no longer have scorch marks on them, other than the one that's burnt to the ground.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I go upstairs and with, my connection towards death and things like that? Are they alive, the people upstairs? Or if I look at them, are they?
I mean, they don't look dead.
Argenta just lets out a whistle like, "Hey, you all right?"
Abigail kind of turns and she just runs towards you, and before you really have a hold on what's happening, she's just wrapped her arms around you in a bear hug, using all the strength that she has, and you feel your chest getting a little bit wet as she just kind of cries into your shoulder.
I pat her back and I give her a hug back, and I'm just like, "So what happened?"
It was horrible. They were just everywhere, and the we couldn't understand them, but they didn't care. They just didn't care, and they would, whenever we wouldn't do what they wanted, they were the whips of fire. They would wrap around and they just burn, and they wouldn't stop. And she just kind of breaks down into sobbing.
I call up the rest of them, and I look at some of the one. Can I see which people are like, they're like, I know they're all affected, but the people that are like stronger mentally?
They all look broken.
Yeah.
Like, just looking at everyone, they're like, people are openly weeping. There's a couple that are just wandering around in a daze. They seem like they don't believe where they are. Like, whatever's happened to these people has been profound.
I walk up to Abigail and I ask, "Where have you been?"
I don't know.
What did it look like?
Are we home? Is it over?
I look at Val and I'm just like, "Can you cast light again?"
I was going to say, I was going to try a test with my illusion again, silent image.
Okay.
I'm still downstairs, and I'm actually attempting to arrange the bodies
Okay.
a little bit more dignified way.
Okay. They're completely nude.
I
I
will take a blanket out and cover them.
Okay.
I probably help you, Mama.
Okay. Henri, as you cast a spell, it works.
Anything seems back to normal.
Do I see Colin around?
I gotta remember now.
He was a
Hunter.
hunter.
Well, he was a hunter guy.
Because he fought with you, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna say you don't.
Okay. Then I'm going to head back downstairs and I'll tell Vala I could try speaking with the one of the people that went through with what those stakes did. See what I get. But
I'm gonna say that due to the fact that you understand a little bit better than most what you just saw,
yeah.
you know that's not going to work.
Oh, okay. Then blah, 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 blah. I'll just be helping him downstairs.
So I believe Speak with Dead has a time limit of like 10 days or something like that, right?
I'll double check, but possibly.
Find out what the time limit is, because I'm pretty sure it's well past.
Yeah, 10 days.
Yeah, it's well past.
I'll share rations with the group.
We should probably ask Abigail if she knows who these people were.
Okay. Do you bring her downstairs?
That bring the bodies up.
No.
Yeah, we'll take the bodies.
Either take that yeah, that would be true for about it. I think cover the back at you guys and bring it out here.
Okay, then we can wait a little while on that.
I'm just going to be sharing rations if any of them are hungry.
Mm-hmm. You notice quite a few people going to the inn, which was partially burned in the fight, but was for the most part salvageable. They lost a few rooms, but they can rebuild. And they get in there, and people are, through a combination of your rations and other dried meats and things that they were able to find in the back storeroom that weren't ruined during the fire. It's almost as if the last 5 days didn't happen, or however long it's been since you guys were here, didn't happen, because the food that was there when the fight started is still there. It's a little bit burny, but
Is there any kind of like altar or desk in this room with the fountain, or was it just the fountain and the bodies?
it was just the fountain and the bodies.
Okay. I'm just going to be down here looking around, studying what I can with what I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once I have them like fed and everything, I'll go down back there and I'll be like, "Fella, why don't you identify it in case it's still magical?"
Sorry, was that me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
I mean, is there any part of the fountain left that I could cast Identify on? That's still intact,
After it kind of exploded, it's in pieces now.
Okay.
So if you wanted to try casting Identify on the pieces, you do know items used for a ritual technically aren't affected by the ritual. They're used for it. So the Identify spell works like if you were to cast Identify on the phosphorus somebody uses to cast Fireball, you wouldn't be able to tell it was used for Fireball.
Gotcha.
Right.
Because again, the spell wasn't cast on it; it was used as a way to cast the spell.
What about the sphere? Was that what it exploded, or was the entire fountain exploded?
The sphere is what exploded. It obliterated the fountain.
Okay, I just want to get that.
Yeah.
I think kind of once the bodies are taken care of, I'm probably going to head towards the inn, and I'm going to start playing a very somber music.
As you start playing somber music, you get a couple people come up to you and ask for something a little bit more lively, simply because of what they've been through.
Okay. In that case, I will put on, as an entertainer, I'm going to put on that persona and kind of get into that. I'm going to put on a show for them, basically.
Right, go ahead. Roll a performance check.
13.
So as you played things like that, you do what a lot of performers do. You kind of push your feelings to the side. The show must go on. You play as good a show as you could have. The people seem just the act of that feeling of normalcy or normality seems to relax them a little bit, seems to help them kind of deal with what they're going through. But this is not a raucous crowd.
Yeah.
And while you get the idea that this is what they needed, they're still like they've been through something.
Yeah.
So death kind of takes the rest of you, other than Vala, aside and says, I have seen many horrible things, done many horrible things. Never in my life have I seen a perversion of life as I saw beneath that church.
Told you we weren't lying.
What the hell have you gotten me into?
I wish we could tell you. We don't know.
And you see him go over to Preacher. Yes, Preacher, I am paid to bring you in. I am going to do that. But whatever the hell this is, I want nothing to do with it. So when you are done, I will be 15 miles to the west. Meet me there or I will find you. Yes? And she kind of gives him a knowing look. And he leaves.
All right.
I'm gonna go back to that room, and I'm just gonna meditate. But in reality, I'm going to be trying to relay what happened to my pact master,
Okay.
because a part of me thinks that's important.
I'll shoot you an email with his response because we're getting close to the end here.
I think I just wanted to get that out of the way in case.
Vala, after you're done and you're putting what do you play?
Loot, I believe.
Okay, so as you're putting your loot away and everything like that, very softly, again, almost as if it's like an echo, you hear that Daisy, Daisy, give me your heart to do. I'm half crazy, hopeful, in love with you.
I just look around and do I see anyone?
There's lots of
Do
people
I see-
around you. There's a specific person you're looking for. You don't see them.
Okay.
Argenta just says in Elven, arcane shit, am I right?
I mean, you didn't hear that technically.
Yeah, Val is the only
Oh, no,
person
no.
that has heard that.
I'm
Yeah,
just
you just
saying
see me.
about I'm saying about below the church. I'm saying
Oh.
that to Val.
Yeah. I need a drink.
I think we all do.
You didn't hear anything?
No, except
It
you're playing. But...
won't be a styleless marriage.
Yeah, let's get out of this country. Where's the preach? Let's go. Let's go now.
I can't afford the carriage. But
Like
you
right now.
look sweet upon the street.
I'm going to
At
cast
an
detect.
altar built for two.
I'm going to cast detect thoughts and see if I can.
You're a little bit
Within 30 feet.
overwhelmed because you're surrounded by incredibly emotional people.
Okay.
But the specific set of thoughts you're looking to detect, you don't find.
Okay.
You've asked us if we've fed anything more than once now. Why?
Yeah. Val, you feeling alright?
I'm on edge.
Well, kind of all are.
That whole that whole magic not working the way it was supposed to, and that the fountain. I don't know. I think I'm hearing things. It's probably nothing.
Is the piece of tree in my pocket still charcoal, or is it a normal tree now?
You take it out, and as you touch it, you get a headache. It's still there, but it feels wrong. And like I said, as soon as you start to touch it, the longer you touch it, the worse the headache gets.
I would stop after a couple seconds, but I'll just put it back in my pocket. Worth a shot.
You know what I think I need? I think I need a change of scenery. Valakovia, right?
Well, yeah, but we still got things here we need to take care of. We gotta make sure
Like what?
that this fountain isn't like a,
The fountain's destroyed.
I know the fountain's destroyed, but whoever set it up isn't coming back.
We don't know who set it up, so I couldn't answer that.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's that we've done our part. I think after this, you know, the vampires are going to be coming back soon. Abigail can explain what happened to them. They can investigate more. They have better resources to handle this.
And if it is the vampire,
What they do that? Crazy.
yes. Or if the vampires had something to do with it, that's much, much bigger than us.
This doesn't sound like them. Not in whole. The vampires live off of the people. Putting them into some fire plane and torturing them doesn't sound like their style. I heard one of them once talking about how wonderful the way things are were people running around like Happy Meals.
What's a happy meal?
Like Happy Meals with legs.
Obviously, it's a meal that is happy to be eaten.
Oh, okay.
And
really
frankly,
that you when you say that.
quite frankly, vampires and fire typically, traditionally, not a good mix. Well, depending on your perspective. I'm saying this doesn't sound like their MO.
Yeah.
And House Dormammu
Dormammu. You have to get me a little bit better than that. I don't remember writing Dormammu.
Read Dormammu.
It's like Donju or
Danjo.
Merovingian?
No, it was
Or
Danjo.
Donjo. Okay.
Danjo.
By the way,
They
these
seem
are all French nobility names. So if you wonder how to pronounce them, just pick, 2 of the 7 letters in the word and then don't pronounce the rest of them because that's how French works.
got it.
Dormammu's from Marvel.
Yeah, the Marvel
Cross the Marvel Street.
I've come to bargain.
Dormammu, Dormammu, Dormammu.
Yes. Anyways, they seem to be very interested in this and not know what was going on. So if somebody's trying to do something behind their back, I'm just saying, I think we've eliminated the threat, and we should be moving on. Somebody paid a lot of money and went through a lot of trouble to get Preach out of there, and wants to see them, and brought this wonderful angel of death to help facilitate this. I'm just saying, I think we need to get out of we should get out of the kingdom in which we are all wanted criminals and have been sentenced to death.
Okay, that part I do agree with.
that is you.
I just worry.
I kind of feel that whatever arcane shenanigans have gone down here, whoever set them up is a little above what we do.
Higher than our pay grade, yeah, makes sense. We should at least check out the rest of the town before we fully take off, just to make sure everything's copacetic.
Okay.
Argenta, have you gone back down at all?
I would have.
Okay. Make me a perception check.
I'll use because I have it, I'll use my inspiration. Much better than the 2 I rolled, which makes that a perception. 23.
As you look at the bodies that have now been a little more ceremoniously laid to rest, and they've been covered, you actually get a chance to look at the room itself a little bit better. Most of it is covered in blood, but you do notice on the wall that you broke through, the explosion dislodged a few pieces and things like that, and one piece that is now face up has not really a sigil, but kind of like a trademark kind of thing, symbol meant to identify a certain person. But it's only part of it, and so you see it, and something about it looks familiar, and you fit more and more pieces together, and you recognize the trademark, the trade symbol.
I'm still technically down there, by the way.
So you would probably see Argenta kind of fumbling through stuff. The symbol itself means nothing to you, so...
Yeah, I figured I'm distracted with other things, but I was just mentioning that I'm down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I fit it together, and you just see Argenta, like a maddening grin. Well, I'm turned away from you, and you're not paying attention, but a maddening grin, and she's just like, you can't run forever, and now I know you're into arcane shit. and not just exploding wagons.
And that is where we are going to end it for tonight. So, hope you all enjoyed this little venture into the macabre. If you missed any of the episode, I do upload all these to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TrainerJody. I try to do it over the weekend, depending on how busy I am. So feel free to check it out there. If you're watching on YouTube, please join us live. It's Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central Time, which is 7 p.m. Pacific. Please join us live. We'd love to see people in chat. As long as it's not too distracting or anything, I will interact with chat every so often. If these guys can, they'll interact with chat. So we're happy to have you guys here, as long as it's not a huge distraction or anything like that. We're happy to interact with you, and we'd love to have live feedback and stuff like that. So please come check us out live. Otherwise, that is going to be all for me today. And stay tuned to the channel, because it'll be uploaded before this video is uploaded. But I have a brand new in-depth D&D 5e guide that I just finished recording before I went live. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go back and watch the other video, because it's good. Anyway, that's all for me today. I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye-bye.